things off, first I want to talk about the band that's on this shirt. It's a shout out to Thomas Wynn and the Believers. I got a chance to go see them last week when they opened for Blackstone Cherry, and I bought the shirt. Had a great conversation with them. Talked about music and talked about how I'm raising my kids to be little musicians, and we talked about this fretless bass build that I'm building, and they said they'd love to check out the channel. So hopefully you're watching and hopefully you catch the shout out. They're a great band with a good southern feel and mixed with grit and soul and gospel. If you like that kind of music, I encourage you to go check them out. Here's a link on the screen. If you click on the link, make sure you come back and finish this video. But definitely do check them out, and you'll probably share the same sentiments that I feel when I got to hear them. So today is a huge day, probably the first big day of the build, where I'm going to do the scarf joint for the neck, and I'm going to recap what the scarf joint is. But the reason it's such a big deal today is because this is my first chance to really screw this up and have to start over, which could be a costly mistake. So here is the neck blank we're working with today. Just to give you an idea, the value of this wood, the maple that these came out of was one board. I can probably get probably 3 whole neck blanks out of it, but the maple that this came out of was, I think, $65 when I ordered it, and the wenge here that I bought was 50 some bucks, and I can get a lot more neck blanks out of that too. But so you see the actual value. You're not shopping at Home Depot for this kind of wood. So I'd say by itself this piece of wood is probably worth 25 bucks, not including any labor that I've got put into it already. So a quick preview or talk through of what this scarf joint is about. The headstocks on a lot of stringed instruments have a back tilt at the top, right where the fretboard ends and the tuning pegs begin. Why is that? Because if you can put a back tilt on the head, then you're going to put more pressure on the strings at the nut, which is going to improve the sustained quality of the note of the string as it rings. So how this is going to happen, we're going for a 7-degree back tilt. That's pretty slight, but the slighter the angle, the longer the cut is. And so how it's going to work is, let's pretend this is the length of the tuning head, and I've got note positions. Okay, and this would be the nut, and then I've got probably the 1st fret and the 2nd fret, 3rd fret and 4th fret, right about here. The cut that I have to make completely square with the face of the wood is it's going to be from about the nut to somewhere in the 4th fret. So I've got to make this diagonal cut right along this slanted line, and I got to make sure that saw blade comes out at the exact same degree on the other side, which means, see, I've already screwed it up. I've got kind of an X going on here. So if let's see, where's the top? This is the top. Okay, so the angle goes from here and here, and then from that width, and then I've got to take a handsaw. No power tools on this one. This would just be too aggressive. I'm going to take a handsaw and meticulously make this angled cut. Once I've got this separated, I take off the entire top, I flip it, and I glue it back on, and that's going to give me my back angle. And you're going to see the whole process. Here we go. Here's my working schematic of the bass guitar. It's a cross section that goes down basically the center. So here you have the body all the way up the neck and the head. 34 inches is our working scale. That's an exact measurement from inside of the nut all the way to where the bridge crests the strings. Knowing our scale length, the thickness of our board that we're working with, and the angle of the scarf joint that we want, then we can determine just where the cut needs to start and where the cut needs to end. And if you need a lesson on geometry, that's probably a different YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm all set up, ready to start cutting. I got the neck set up on the bench vise, and I got the new saw ready to go. And well, wish me luck. So far so good on the cut. I'm staying square with my lines here. You can see it's not perfect, but it's about as good as I can expect it to be. I'm gonna have to do some cleanup on the faces that I'm exposing, just so I can get a flat surface to make that good scarf joint. I've been using this pull saw that I just bought. But the handle and the blade itself was a little short, and I'm having a little trouble getting a good grip because of the angle that I'm working here. So instead, I'm going to switch over to this cheap Harbor Freight pull saw with a long handle. I should be able to get a little more action in the cut. So there you have it. I probably spent somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes on that single cut. I took my time getting it started, as you probably saw through the time lapse. But then once I got about a quarter of the way through, I picked up speed, got a bigger saw going, and then I finished it off again with the smaller saw. Not perfect, but I can work with it. So here is the final result. Okay, so here it is, connected back with itself. You see the line that I needed to follow. I started from cutting up here, and then see where I kind of got off my line, and then same with the other side there. And then if I show you, this is the side that I cut from, so I destroyed the line. So when I came out on the other end, started to come out pretty good, but you can see where I got off about 3/32 to about 1/8 of an inch off. That's nothing I can't level up with the plane and get a good flat surface on this piece. This being the top, the fretboard piece of the neck. I just have to blade this down level, and then this is the part I cut off. It gets flipped and joined here to here, so that's why we need to get this perfectly level. Okay, this is looking top down, and it's going to get joined just like so. You see, this is where it's connected at the bottom, and this is the gap that I've got to square up. Nothing I can't work with, because I can always scoot this up just a bit and have this much room to work with to level up the face of the neck where the fretboard is going to get joined. So that is a scarf joint. But overall, I'm satisfied with the cut. And I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, and tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to work on this face. Make it all nice and smooth, and then we'll glue up and we'll be done with the scarf joint. Hopefully you learned something on that.